Hey guys, Ixalan Magic here, and there have been some insane cards, and I mean absolutely crazy cards that have been leaked, or I guess spoiled, or both in this case, from the new soon-to-be-released set Ixalan. So I thought I'd bring up some of the most noteworthy ones, not just for standard, not just power level, just like, oh, this is interesting, oh, I want this in my deck, or oh, that's unique, I've never seen that before, or oh, this is going to ruin Modern. I mean, Modern's already ruined. If it's the antidote for certain decks, that's actually perfectly fine for me. But a lot of people are saying they'll ruin Modern, like Solemnity, which isn't even in this set. Like, Solemnity is the cure for Infect. If I recall, it also stops Kitchen Finks. So, guess what? I hate those decks and they deserve to burn, so I'm perfectly fine with that. So this time around, there's a couple like that, but let's just go in... Well, I'll assume alphabetical order because this one's Ankylosaurus. Hard to tell though, considering it's in who the hell knows what language and who cares? Well, apparently Wizards cares because they care more about looking diverse and look how, I don't know, sophisticated? What would even be the word? Just they look like a bunch of pretentious douchebags when they leak cards in other languages. Like, oh, look how inclusive we are. We sent these to some random small-time blogger out in South Korea or something. Who gives a crap? I want to read the damn card and see what it says. For God's sake, most of your customers speak English. Release the card simultaneously in multiple languages. I am so sick of this, and from what I've heard, I'm not the only one. Anyway, this thing is absolutely crazy. Now, unfortunately, the theme in Ixalan is crap that costs way too much, like 5 and up. You're never going to get it out in a game realistically, not in a million billion years without ramp. But it's hyper powerful. So that just takes old cheater decks from Modern, like free casting crap, and just breaks it. A lot of the free casting stuff is still going to be legal too, so that's going to be fun. But you have to have like a whole framework for it, and Marvel is banned, so I don't know, we'll see. But I think in like older formats, especially pre-Modern even, this stuff's going to be a little disruptive, but whatever, I don't really play those, so who cares. But this one, check this out. Okay, this is like Phalanx Leader on steroids right here. So, it's an Ankylosaurus that costs 5, it's a 3/5, vanilla, no traits, nothing, except it has Enrage, so whenever it is dealt damage per occurrence, this will trigger. Put a 1/1 counter on each other creature you control. So, if it included itself, that would be insane because you would literally never kill this. But 5 toughness. I mean, with Enrage, if anybody finds a way to repeatedly hit their own creature for 1, oh my god. And this would be like my #1 choice, except that it costs 6, so you're never going to get it out on the field. I mean, welcome to Magic, where if something costs above 5, it is dead. It is a dead card, and you're not going to cast it. Unless, like I said, your whole damn deck is ramped pretty much. If you run the math, it'll be, I think, like turn 13 or 14 on average before you would have normally 6 mana on the field. So, yeah, you're going to need some ramp. But, you know, then again, if you want to build a ramp deck, there you go. And if you built a bunch of mana dorks and now you're dumping, you know, counters onto them, that's a thing. So this looks playable. It actually does. Just really narrows your deck down. And the other problem is everything in Ixalan costs way too much mana. But the other 2 entire blocks that are legal right now are turbo fast, like crazy, like 3/1 for 2 fast. It's all rush, haste, you can't block, destroy everything, I win, you know, and that doesn't really mesh well with Ixalan, so we'll see how playable it ends up being. Anyway, next up, we've got a travesty of a card. When this one was first leaked from the sheet picture, people were pissed, and they still are. It's a rare enchantment, blue, only single blue. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other type, or types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So all creature cards, all creature spells on the stack, and all creatures on the battlefield that you control are now, well, let's be honest, merfolks. That is going to just break every tribal deck in every format ever made. I mean, yeah, it costs 3 and yeah, it's blue. So, I mean, that limits it a little bit. But here's the problem. The card's unplayable. Because if you're throwing in, like, Eldrazi and, like, Titan caliber creatures, but you also need them to be merfolk so that they have Island Walk or whatever, you have to get this card out. Like, you absolutely have to. Now, what was the last deck in Modern where you had to get a card out? It was Splinter Twin. I mean, it was pretty damn hard to win without the actual card Splinter Twin, and there was only 4 of in the deck. So this is just a disaster because you would build like, 6 merfolk creatures times 4. Okay, cool. And then 4 arcane adaptations. And then what are we left with? 3 creatures that are not merfolk but are insanely good, like some kind of white double striking human warrior or something. Well, they aren't going to do a damn thing unless you get out Arcane Adaptation, and that means you can't do a damn thing till turn 3. So this simultaneously breaks a whole bunch of decks while also simultaneously not being playable at all. So it'll probably land somewhere in the middle, kind of a fringy card. It just doesn't work. So I already hate it. I think they shouldn't have done a type shifting thing. It's too wide open, but it's also so necessary to pull this card, depending upon the deck you built, that I think it's just not going to be worth more than 50 cents. Pretty damn weird, though. So next up, let's just get to what I was talking about before. It's time to take a dump all over Modern. Again, I guess Solemnity wasn't good enough, or Fatal Push. I mean, good for them for trying to mix up Modern, but the people running these decks are going to be pissed. I don't care. I'm on the side of mix up Modern. Modern is stale and boring, and I hate it. So get this. Okay, this is a 2-cost enchantment, so, 2 costs, very, very playable in Modern. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or activate abilities of cards in graveyards. Oh, and then whenever a creature dies, you gain 1 life on top of it, so that's not quite Authority of the Console is good, but it's not bad. I mean, it's your creatures are their creatures, so I mean, that's actually pretty good. It's pretty obvious what decks in Vintage, Legacy, Commander, Modern, and every other format that this just takes a dump all over, so I'm not going to go into it. Just take my word for it, this takes a dump on certain decks. So let's fast forward out of alphabetical order here to Tocatli Honor Guard. It's a 2-cost human soldier with 3 toughness, so boltable, but very, very reasonably tough. I mean, 2 damage won't kill it. I don't know what more to say about that. 3 for 2 is pretty good. Creatures entering the battlefield do not cause abilities to trigger, period. Doesn't matter what the source was, what the ability is on, it does not trigger. This absolutely shuts down certain deck archetypes. So that's, like I said, it's a disruptive thing, but it's kind of a good thing, but it's also kind of annoying. So I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning towards it being a moderately good, healthy thing for Modern. Still, though, people are complaining like, oh, it just becomes, did you get out Blood Moon? Did you pull it in your opening hand? Then you win. Did you not? Then you lose. There you go. So it's just like Solemnity. If you get out Solemnity, you literally cannot lose the game to Infect. It is impossible. It can't happen. So it's just a boring, stupid, nobody wants to watch it on stream binary condition. Oh, look, he got his card. Oh, look, he's mulliganing to 3. I wonder if he's looking for Solemnity. So it's not a very creative solution to what's wrong with Modern right now, but it's not like it wouldn't work. So it's certainly interesting and worth a shot, I guess. They could always ban it later. And the good thing is, it's such a sideboard card, it's not going to be above like $3 probably. So if they banned it, oh well, boo-hoo, we're right back where we started, and you lost 12 bucks. I mean, so what? So yeah, absolutely worth a shot. So next up, we've got a pretty nuts card, Bishop of Rebirth. It's a 3/4 with Vigilance, so you're going to attack every damn turn with this. And whenever it attacks, you get a trigger. You may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If this didn't cost 5, this would be the new king of Modern right here, because that level of resurrection is crazy. Now, there is just enough self-mill to maybe make this work, but 3 or less, I mean, it probably just got killed through combat. So you could chump block, and this goes great with lifelinkers. It's just a good, solid card. I almost wish it was like a 2/3 for 4, and maybe dropped Vigilance or something, because there is already an Exert creature that does this, but the problem is, you exert it, and, well, now you can't use it next turn. And that one's only 2 or less, I believe. So 3 or less is a lot of cards. I mean, not really a lot of Ixalan cards. They all cost 5+ pretty much. But still, a lot of cards in Standard would benefit from this. So I could definitely see people playing this. Next up, don't want to bury the lead here with Ixalan. Here's the dual lands, because everybody cares about what the dual lands are, especially in the first set in a block, which seems to, typically have the better ones. So check this out, Drowned Catacomb. Hey, that name sounds familiar. It probably should, because it was in M10, M11, M12, and M13. See, they aren't just reprint sets. That's why they're bringing core sets back. They were not exclusively reprint sets, and they're actually not really bringing core sets back. They're changing them somewhat significantly. Anyway, these are really good. I play them in a lot of Modern decks because fetch lands are stupidly expensive, and in some decks I really just don't want to lose the 1 life. That actually is a legitimate thing. So this, it's a single check land. I don't remember what other people call it, but it checks for one land, so it's called single check land. Anyway, if you control an island or a swamp, boom, you're coming in untapped, and it's a dual color. You can't get much nicer lands than these. These are definitely like, I don't know, tier 2-ish land, I guess you would say. And these are moderately expensive. I mean, they're going for between like $3 and $4, sometimes upwards of $5 in good condition. So yeah, they're played. I mean, they're very like modern fuel, and they're very solid and standard. So I'm pretty happy about that, because it just screams money without going, haha, overboard, pun very much intended. So I absolutely love that. So let's hit one more, and then I'm going to split this into 2 videos, because I got a hell of a lot more cards. Herald of Secret Streams. Not a fan of this one. I told you before I even looked at a damn card in Ixalan, Merfolk were going to be a complete menace, a complete disaster. They're just going to ruin the game, just like they did to Modern. I freaking hate that deck. Even though it's not a terribly competitive deck in Modern, it's annoying. So, creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them can't be blocked. Simple as that. Now, he does cost 4, he's a 2/3, so okay. But what the Merfolk do in Ixalan is put counters on themselves. That has already been revealed. That's not good. So basically, you're going to have a line of boosted giant Merfolk that it doesn't matter how many blockers you have. So the game's going to degenerate into tribals versus tons of creature removal. And those are your 2 options. And that's it. That's all you can play. And that's not just looking at this card, that's looking at every card. I read every single card that was leaked so far from Ixalan, and yeah, it's just going to be creature removal versus tribal. And that's all it's going to be until it cycles out. So, yeah, welcome to Hearthstone. Well, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, I got to show one more, because this one will piss you off. Kopala, Warden of Waves. It's legendary, who cares? People are going to run 3 of. It's double blue, who cares? People are still going to put it in a green-blue Merfolk deck. Spells your opponent cast that targeted Merfolk you control cost 2 generic more. Oh my god. So not only are all of the Merfolk now gigantic and unblockable, but you can't kill them. That is stupid. This card is a mistake. It never should have been printed. Oh, and guess what? By the way, abilities cost 2 more as well. So good luck killing the Merfolks. Not only do you need to kill them, but you need to counter this before it even hits the field. Otherwise, it itself will qualify. They could have at least said other Merfolk, so that at least you can blow this thing up for a reasonable amount of mana. I mean, it takes murder and makes it cost 5. 5 mana to get rid of one stupid Merfolk when they all build on each other, they're all tribal, and you really just need to blow up all of them. So, I mean, you'd probably use sweepers anyway, but it's like, what are you going to do? Sweep -3s? They're already boosted. I mean, what are you going to do? Plus, we've got the disaster of a card, that stupid robot cloner from Kaladesh. So, yeah, Merfolk are going to be virtually unbeatable. I'm calling it right now. If it gets bad enough, they're probably going to have to ban one of these 2 cards. So, it's a real shame. I'm just sick of Merfolk. I hate everything about them. I know pretty much everybody I've ever talked to feels the same way. They're like tier 2 on the hateometer, right below slivers. They're like tied with mill decks. So yeah, not looking good for Merfolk. That really pisses me off. And a bunch of this stuff is just absolute dead cards in draft, unless you're... Well, draft you can maybe pull Merfolk, but pre-release, sealed, forget it. You're never going to have enough Merfolk or any tribal. You're just going to have a bunch of cards that don't go together. So yeah, everything's super, super tribal. Not even just for Merfolks. I mean, just like pirates, vampires, everything. You cannot even mix them, basically. So that's the overall overview so far. Watch for part 2 of this video where I go over even more insane cards, because it gets even nuttier from here. And I will see you guys next video.